Hello, welcome to One Moment Wiser. This is Christy Bridges, and I have Coni Meyers with us. This is Labor Day of 2018, and it's going to be one of the podcasts. We've launched a new podcast this weekend. So if you're joining us today on Facebook, that's terrific. If you're listening later on the podcast, then I'm glad to have you. The One Moment Wiser exists to help you live more wisely in every aspect of your life. So you understand yourself better, you communicate and enjoy your relationships better, and you have good direction in your life. And for that reason, I'm interviewing guests that I feel really demonstrate particular aspects of wisdom. Coni Meyers is definitely one of those people. Coni, you have earned your wisdom. You are now the founder of the Crystalline Moments movement, and the creator of a fantastic course that I really enjoyed called Kickbutt Leadership. That course, I have to say, actually inspired an article that I wrote on anxiety management for a magazine called Faith-Filled Family Magazine. And that article used some of your mindfulness practices as a calming agent and a way to prevent future anxiety. So I really appreciate your inspiration there.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Christy. And by the way, congratulations on your podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. I am loving it. So what made you aware that mindfulness leadership or that kickbutt leadership techniques needed to be applied? You weren't always this amazing, were you?
Not even close. No, if you would have said mindfulness to me about 10, 15 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, that's all woo-woo stuff. And I know that there's many people out there that still feel that. But it really, what happened is when my husband passed away and I had to find my new life, I couldn't go back to my old workaholic life that I had. And I had to really start doing some researching of my own soul and figure out what that crystalline moment did for me and how to move forward. That I really started paying attention to the more about mindfulness and what that really meant. So it's been a journey. It's been about a 7-year journey of me really stepping into it. And the Kickbutt Leadership course is a manifestation of that journey for sure.
That is wonderful. So what does mindfulness really mean? If I've never heard about mindfulness, what would that mean to me?
Mindfulness is just being aware of where you are right now, not what's happened in the past, not what's happening in the future, but being totally present. Because when we are totally present, we are able to move forward with our lives in a way that is intentional. And we focus on what is now rather than worrying about the past and not worrying about what's going to happen next. So being mindful is really just stopping and being aware of what you're feeling right now and what your inner voice is telling you. I love what Wayne Dyer says. He says, when we pray, we're speaking to God. When we are listening to our inner voice, we're listening to God speaking to us. And if you have to be in the present moment to be able to do that, you can't be aware of anything outside. So the most important thing is to just stop and breathe, because when we breathe, we bring ourselves to the present moment. And being mindful is really just being aware of where we are right now with what we have.
I love it. We spend so much of our time either obsessing about how we should have done things differently or thinking about what we have yet to do and worrying about whether we'll accomplish it or what's coming next or things like that. And even when we're dreaming towards our future, which you also talk about, having a vision for your future, even when we're dreaming towards our future, there's the practice of stopping and being fully present in the moment is such a peace bringer. And like you said, people want to hear from God, but we have to actually slow down and focus and give him the chance to be heard above all the racket, right? Proverbs 4:23 says, above all else, guard your heart. Everything you do flows from it. It doesn't matter what I want to accomplish. If I don't take the time to set my heart right, I'm not going to get there, or I'm going to be a nervous wreck the whole way. You talk about the fact that in your course, you talk about the fact that they actually did a study on mindful practices. Tell me about that study.
I think that was the turning point for me, because I really believe I want to have proof that something works. I'm not really analytical, but I do like having evidence. And it was really the turning point. And actually, it was the beginning of why I wanted to write Kickbutt Leadership. In 2011, there was a study done by Harvard Business Review, Yale University, a bunch of think tanks, a bunch of neuroscientists, a couple other universities. And they pulled in 57 different leaders from different sectors of business, divided the group into two halves. And one group they put through 8 weeks of mindfulness training, and the other group they did not. And then at the end of the 8 weeks, they spent another 12 weeks having people continue to do the practices. And then they came back and they retested. So initially, they did brainwave tests. They did psychological tests. They did all the testing on these people. And at the end, they came back and did the same testing all over again. And the results for me were mind-blowing. First of all, there was over an 80% increase. I'm sorry, over a 90% increase in resilience. Now, whether it's our personal life or our business life, how important is it to be resilient? This is critical. The second area was collaboration. It was over an 80% increase in collaboration. We collaborate with our family when we first get out of bed in the morning till late at night. We're collaborating all day long with people. And so if we can increase our ability to be able to do that and be effective by over 80%, just by simple little mindfulness practices, why wouldn't you want to do it? And the third area was the agility to be able to handle complex problems and situations. And that was over an 80% increase as well. Wow. And in addition to that, another study that was done a couple of years later found that when you do these practices, your brain actually grows, the gray matter of the brain actually grows in size. Yeah. So especially for us people that are getting older and we want to keep our brain as sharp as we can get, this is all stuff that sounded really good to me.
You bet. Well, I read that same report after you pointed me towards it. And another thing that it did is there was a density decrease in your amygdala. And the amygdala, and what that is the amygdala is where your anxious feelings arise. And so there was a density decrease there and an increase in the density in the areas of memory, and focus. And so I'm with you. That was a profound turning point for me, reading that study and then just knowing my personal life, how those practices affected me. So would you walk us through the steps when we talk about a mindfulness practice? There's a simple practice that people can do for maybe 2 to 10 minutes a day that is really helpful. Can you walk us through what those steps look like?
Absolutely. Well, first, and also let me say that mindfulness practices don't have to increase things you have to do for your day. They are things that can actually be incorporated into what you're already doing. So the very first thing, like in the first thing in the morning, if you take 10 minutes, so maybe while you're laying in bed or you're brushing your teeth, you're taking a shower, it doesn't have to be that you take time and sit in a chair and all of that. You can be doing it while you're doing other things. So all you do is you stop, you take some deep breaths, just concentrate on your breath and do that for maybe 3 to 4 minutes of just breathing. And really paying attention to where you are with that breath. And once you've breathed, then And if you want to listen to a guided meditation during that period of time, if you have a hard time, your brain is over here, what they call monkey brain, and it's over there rattling away. If you're easier for you to have like there's all kinds of free apps out there that are anywhere from 2 to 4 minutes. So just stopping and breathing and concentrating on your breath. And then think about 3 things you're grateful for from the day before, or 3, and make sure that they're new things, and they don't have to be big. Maybe it's that you're grateful that you got out of bed this morning, you know? And think about those 3 things, because what that does is it sets our mind into action of looking for things to be grateful for.
Yes.
And then the third thing is to think about a success that you had the day before. Because when you do that, your brain now is coming from success. So it's not coming from fear, failure, or any of those other lack, or any of those other things. It's coming from a success. It changes the brain. This is where our prefrontal cortex is what our thoughts come from. But our I think it's our hippocampus is where we set the stage. So by thinking about something you're successful for, and then think about what you want the end of the day to look like. What is the vision for the day? And you can't go to a vision. You have to come from it. So if you just breathe. I'm so happy and grateful that I'm having this opportunity to talk to Christy Bridges. I had an incredible day driving from LA to Vegas yesterday. Time to listen to some great books. And at the end of the day, I want it to be I'm having dinner with friends and family, to have it just be a really fun day. That's it. That's it. That's all it takes to start your day in a point of being present and being mindful.
Wonderful. And so you're putting gratitude in there. You're putting a memory of a success, and our brains expect the future to be like the most recent past. So if your most recent memory that you're concentrating on is a successful one, then your brain is going to expect success. And that's when, like you said, you envision how the end of your day, you're going to look back at today with that same feeling of success. And that is just a little tiny point in your Kickbutt Leadership program, but that is, I think, one of the most important points, that it doesn't matter if you're a boss, if you're a leader, or if you're a janitor, you can experience that kind of anxiety reduction, success generating moment every day. Well, Coni, we're out of time, but thank you so much. I'm so glad that you are on here. And where can we find you? What's the best place to get a hold of you?
Well, my email address is Coni, and Coni is spelled CONI, at kickbuttleadership.com. Okay. My website is kickbuttleadership.com. And if you go to Facebook and you put in Coni Meyers, and it's CONIMEYERS, you will find my founders page. And I put all my videos and all my training and everything. I talk about this all the time. So those are the 3 best places to find me.
That is fantastic. Well, thank you so much. And look Coni up. And so this is Christy Bridges from One Moment Wiser signing off. And if you like this broadcast, then follow us. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on your favorite podcasting site. And look us up at onemomentwiser.com. God bless you today. Bye-bye.
God bless you.